The moment is here. But not the one that comes with applause or clarity. This is the quiet, invisible threshold, the final 24 hours of Mercury retrograde. The part no one talks about. The part that doesn't come with warnings or cosmic fanfare. Yet, beneath the surface, it carries more weight than almost anything that came before it. You may have thought the hardest part was over. That the emotional turbulence, miscommunications, delays, and inner chaos would now fade as Mercury prepares to station direct. But the truth is, this final stretch isn't a gentle landing, it's the energetic hangover of everything you've just lived through. It's the residue of what you've said, ignored, denied, delayed, or realized. And it doesn't just vanish because the chart changes. In these final 24 hours, your choices harden. Your thoughts crystallize. Your silence, or your courage to speak, will echo far beyond today. This window doesn't just close the retrograde. It seals the vibration you'll carry forward. That means what you do now, what you say, what you commit to or walk away from, becomes a kind of spiritual contract. It's as if the universe is asking, are you sure? Is this what you want written into your next chapter? And make no mistake, the pen is in your hand. These hours may feel strange, like you're standing in a reality that's neither old nor new. There's a sense that time is bending, that the air is heavier, that emotions rise without reason. That's because this is not just the end of a transit. It's the final spiritual checkpoint before momentum begins again. And how you move through it matters more than most will ever realize. So take a breath. Get present. Because this is where the next cycle quietly begins, underneath the stillness, within the unseen, and inside the choices you make right now. There's a story told every time Mercury turns retrograde, a story of broken things, of delays, of frustration. You've likely heard it, maybe even believed it, that this is a time to fear, to hide, to wait out the chaos. But that story is incomplete. Because Mercury retrograde was never a curse. It was never sent to punish you. It was sent to reveal what you've been unwilling or too distracted to see. It's not an attack. It's a mirror. Throughout this retrograde, the surface disruptions were never the point. They were the signals. What looked like a missed call or a lost email was often a deeper message, one that said, slow down. Look closer. Feel this. And beneath that message, something sacred was happening, a spiritual audit. Mercury, the planet of thought, speech, and alignment, turned its gaze inward and pulled your awareness with it. Not to leave you lost, but to help you find the cracks in your own rhythm. The moments you speak without listening. The truths you bypass to keep peace. The places where your energy fractures under pressure, not because you're weak, but because you're still carrying patterns that no longer belong to who you're becoming. This retrograde revealed where you abandon your intuition in favor of logic. Where you delay decisions, not because they're unclear, but because you're afraid of what will change if you say yes, or no. And these weren't just annoyances. They were maps. The breakdowns weren't breakdowns at all. They were doorways. But only if you had the courage to walk through them. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. That scripture is often quoted to expose wrongdoing, but it's just as true for the soul. Because the most powerful things that rise during Mercury retrograde aren't always sins or mistakes, they're unspoken truths, silenced instincts, quiet betrayals of the self that we've buried beneath survival. And when Mercury rewinds, those buried places stir. Not to cause chaos, but to give you the chance to reclaim your voice from them. So if the past few weeks have felt raw, unsteady, or strangely familiar, know this, you haven't been backsliding. You've been uncovering. The discomfort wasn't regression, it was exposure. It showed you what's no longer sustainable. It gave you the data your higher self has been waiting for. It revealed the spaces where clarity is now non-negotiable. As this cycle nears its end, something begins to shift. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. But it's steady. A quiet knowing that you can no longer speak from habit. That your agreements, internal and external, must now match your truth. That you are ready, perhaps for the first time, to walk forward without pretending not to notice what this journey has revealed. Mercury retrograde didn't curse you. It commissioned you, to walk more awake, to speak with greater care, and to finally live with the kind of clarity you've always carried but rarely honored. And now, as you enter these final hours, it's no longer about what happened. It's about what remains, and how you choose to respond to it. Because now that you've seen it, you cannot unsee it. You don't need to fear what's been uncovered. You just need to decide what stays, and what doesn't follow you into the next chapter. There is a quiet wisdom passed down through many ancient traditions, though it is rarely spoken of in modern spiritual circles. It is the practice of allowing, even creating, symbolic disorder as a ritual of inner mastery. In these final hours of Mercury retrograde, while the world seeks closure through logic or control, there is a deeper way to honor this moment, and that is by choosing to step into the mess with presence. Not the emotional mess that overwhelms you, but the kind you create on purpose. A sacred disruption. It might sound strange at first. Throw your laundry on the floor. Scribble random words and symbols into a journal page with no form or meaning. Unfold something already folded. Spill a small amount of water, then clean it, carefully, with full awareness. It's not about the act itself. It's about what it teaches your nervous system. It's about what it affirms to the spiritual dimension. You are saying, not with affirmation but with embodiment, I am not afraid of chaos. I do not fear disorder. I know how to return to center. I remember who holds the brush. We have been conditioned, since childhood, to fear mess. To be rewarded for neatness, correctness, containment. To believe that mistakes are dangerous and disorder is shameful. But spiritual evolution is not tidy. The soul does not unfold in perfect symmetry. And Mercury retrograde, with its unpredictable lessons and sudden turns, has reminded you of this over and over. So now, as the cycle closes, this ritual becomes your reply, not just to Mercury, but to life itself. This simple act, of creating symbolic chaos and then restoring harmony, becomes a form of energetic mastery. It's not performative. It doesn't need to be posted or shared. It is private. Intimate. Between you and the divine. In a world obsessed with control, this practice is subversive. You are not waiting for the external world to settle. You are declaring, through action, that your peace is internally sourced. That your order comes from within, not from things being perfectly aligned around you. And this matters deeply in these final moments before Mercury goes direct. Because energy is sticky now. What you do today doesn't just evaporate. It carries into the new cycle. And no ritual is more potent than the one that teaches your body, your spirit, and your subconscious that disorder does not mean danger. That broken rhythm does not mean failure. That you can enter the eye of the storm and still choose gentleness, clarity, and grace. This is not about chaos for its own sake. It is about intimacy with the unknown. It is about rebuilding your relationship with uncertainty, so that when life becomes messy again, as it always will, you no longer contract in fear. You move with it. You breathe through it. You remember, I've been here before, and I didn't fall apart. I cleaned the water. I folded the cloth. I reassembled my center. That memory stays with you in ways the intellect cannot grasp. So as the retrograde draws to a close, let your ritual speak on your behalf. Let your movements testify to your readiness. Not to live a life of perfection, but to live a life of presence. The truth is, what you are doing through this act is far more than cleaning up a mess. You are anchoring a code. You are imprinting trust into your field. You are telling your future self, in a language only the soul understands, you are safe even in disruption. You can rebuild even in the dark. Because harmony isn't the absence of chaos. It's the conscious return to it. As the final energies of this retrograde cycle swirl in the unseen, something subtle but undeniable is happening. You may not be able to explain it in words, but you feel it, the sense that you're not walking alone. That something, or someone, is paying attention. This is not imagination. It is spiritual truth. Because at every threshold of transformation, you are observed. Not by human eyes, but by the deeper intelligences that have walked with you long before this incarnation. You are being watched, but not in the way the world understands. You are being watched the way a gardener watches a seed just before it breaks open. You are being observed the way a master teacher silently watches a student who is finally about to solve what once confused them. Your guides, your ancestors, your higher self, they are present now. Not to criticize, not to punish, but to witness. To assess the integrity of your inner movement. To feel the resonance between what you say you want and what you are truly aligned with. They are not watching for perfection. They are watching for clarity. For coherence. For the kind of sacred honesty that emerges not when life is smooth, but when you choose truth inside the mess. And if you feel their nearness, if you sense the tingling of something just beyond the veil, it's because the veil itself is thinning. Retrograde cycles are not just energetic phases. They are spiritual checkpoints. And now, you are standing at one of them. This is why the decisions you make now, the silence you break or keep, the truths you speak or still avoid, all of it matters more than you know. You are being scanned for alignment. Not by some cold cosmic machine, but by the field of your own destiny. It's listening. It's watching. It wants to know, what did you learn? What did you break apart that needed to be broken? What did you rebuild, within your words, your heart, your energy, that now reflects a truer version of you? Inspired by esoteric astrology, there is a saying, each soul is examined at its thresholds. Clarity determines the next path. This is such a threshold. This isn't judgment. This is calibration. And like an instrument that is being fine-tuned, your field is being attuned to the timeline that matches your current frequency. That is why these final moments feel heavy. Why your emotions fluctuate. Why something inside you feels like it's being held under quiet observation. Because it is. You are not being asked to prove your worth. You are not being asked to put on a spiritual performance. You are being invited into a moment of sacred responsibility. Not heavy, not punishing, just deeply true. Because what comes next is not determined by your hopes, but by your readiness. And readiness is not a feeling, it's a frequency. It's the vibration of a soul who has walked through their own fire and emerged more present, more embodied, more honest. So if you feel stillness, honor it. If you feel intensity, meet it gently. If you feel watched, good. You are. But not for judgment. For recognition. For realignment. For the unfolding of the next path, which will not be based on appearance, but essence. Let your presence be the prayer. Let your embodiment be the signal. Because now, what sees you, is listening for the truth you've become. There is a brief and sacred window that opens in the final hours of Mercury Retrograde, a moment that many overlook, yet those who are awake can feel it vibrating in their throat, their chest, their soul. It's not the chaos or the confusion anymore. It's something quieter, weightier, the presence of words that have been waiting to be said. Words held in silence for too long. Feelings unspoken, truths swallowed for the sake of peace, for timing, for fear. But now, in this golden hour, those words begin to rise. And they carry weight not just in conversation, but in spirit. This is not the time to overthink. This is not the time to rehearse. It is the time to release. Because words are not just language. They are vibration. They are carriers of energy. And when held back past their rightful moment, they can begin to congeal into heaviness. The unspoken becomes a burden. And that burden is not only emotional, it is spiritual. Expression is not performance. It is liberation. It is a way of aligning your inner truth with your external reality, so that your life stops contradicting what your soul already knows. The energy now is rare. What you say echoes beyond your timeline. The throat chakra opens like a gate, but only for a short while. This is when the words you've held in your chest can become medicine, not just for others, but for yourself. And you don't need to say them perfectly. You just need to say them honestly. Maybe it's the apology that's overdue. Or the boundary you've been afraid to set. Maybe it's the clarity someone else needs to hear. Or the simple sentence you need to say to yourself, I forgive you. I see you. We're not going back. Even a whisper can hold the force of a storm if spoken from the core. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. The wisdom of Ecclesiastes doesn't rush either moment, but it honors both. And this is the time to speak. You don't have to shout. You don't need an audience. You just need to move the truth from inside you, to the air. Some truths are meant to be written in a letter you never send. Some need to be spoken in the mirror, your own eyes reflecting back what you were once too afraid to name. And others need to be voiced with trembling lips to the person you fear losing, but fear even more not being seen by. What matters now is not the form. It's the alignment. You are not speaking just to be heard. You are speaking to be free. So if something rises in your throat, if your chest tightens and your heart beats faster at the thought of saying it, good. That's your soul asking for release. That's the backlog of spiritual weight preparing to dissolve. Let it. Because this window won't stay open long. When Mercury moves direct, the cement begins to dry. And whatever remained unspoken will imprint itself into the structure of the next season. Don't let your silence become a wall you carry with you. Let your words be the door that opens instead. Speak, not because you must, but because you finally can. There's something you set down recently. Maybe without even realizing it. A project half finished. A message you wrote but never sent. An idea that once sparked fire in your chest, but that you tucked away when the chaos of Mercury Retrograde made it feel unstable, impractical, or simply too much. In the fog of this cycle, it was easy to believe that letting go was the same as moving on. But not everything that's paused is meant to be discarded. Some things are simply waiting for you to come back stronger. Retrograde doesn't kill what's meant for you. It tests it. It slows it down, not to punish you, but to protect the integrity of what's being built. And now, as this cycle prepares to shift, the energy surrounding what you left behind is also beginning to stir. There's a reason your thoughts have drifted back to that forgotten idea, that unspoken truth, that abandoned path. There's a reason that image is surfacing again in your dreams. Not everything that goes still is dying. Sometimes, it's just resting. Waiting for you to be ready. This is the moment to look back, not with regret, but with curiosity. Pick up what you dropped. Hold it in your awareness again. Feel it. Ask yourself, with honesty, does this still call to me? If the answer is yes, if your body leans forward, if your breath deepens, if your soul stirs, then don't wait. This is the window. The momentum is about to shift. And if something still lives in you, even after confusion and delay, then it deserves your attention now. You are not the same person who abandoned it. You are clearer. More grounded. More attuned to what truly aligns. You no longer move out of fear or urgency, you move with presence. And from this space, you can decide not just whether to pick it up again, but how. Maybe with more patience. Maybe with a different structure. Maybe with a heart that no longer needs validation to create. The world has conditioned us to believe that unfinished means failed. But the soul knows better. The soul speaks in spirals, not straight lines. What loops back around is not always a repeat, it may be a deeper layer. A second chance. A wiser beginning. And sometimes, the most sacred things are the ones we walk away from and then return to, not because we were wrong, but because we needed time to grow into them. If there's a calling echoing back into your field, listen. Don't ask if it's logical. Ask if it's alive. Some energies don't disappear. They wait. And now is when they reintroduce themselves, not to demand, but to invite. You don't need to be fully ready. You don't need to know exactly how. You just need to take the next step, before the window closes. Because Mercury is turning, and the cement is soft only for a moment longer. What you reconnect with now, you carry forward. Not as a burden, but as a part of your becoming. What you left behind was never lost. It was waiting for you to see it with new eyes. You are now standing in what many mystics and spiritual teachers call the wet cement moment, an energetic space so potent, so malleable, that what you think, feel, say, or do now will not simply pass through you. It will embed itself. This is not poetic metaphor. It is the nature of spiritual crystallization. The final hours of a Mercury retrograde are not soft landings, they are sacred ground, waiting for imprint. And what you impress upon it becomes the texture of your next cycle. In this moment, energy locks in. Not because the universe is trying to trap you, but because life is asking you to choose, consciously, deliberately, and without distraction. The field around you is soft, responsive. Whatever you pour into it, whatever vibration you move with, it will hold that shape when Mercury moves forward. This is why attention is everything right now. Not intensity. Not drama. Just attention, because what you give attention to is what solidifies. If you find yourself drifting into passivity, if your thoughts wander toward resentment, comparison, chaos, or old fear patterns, pause. Not because you've failed, but because this moment holds too much weight to waste on frequencies that don't belong in your future. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be aware. Because the unconscious choices you make today, the words you speak without thinking, the thoughts you entertain without checking, the energy you radiate without grounding, those don't just pass. They take root. And yet, that truth holds a powerful flip side. If you choose clarity now, if you move with presence, speak with intention, clean your space, write your prayers, breathe with reverence, you're not just surviving the retrograde. You are programming your field for the next level of alignment. The cement of this moment is not only sensitive, it's responsive to your devotion. Even the smallest gesture made with clarity becomes a spiritual instruction. Light a candle with focus and your next steps may unfold in that glow. Write a single sentence of truth and your timeline will adjust to support it. Touch an object that reminds you of your power and your body will remember that it is already worthy of the life you seek. This isn't magic in the performative sense. This is alignment made manifest. It's the truth of energy responding to intention. What you engage with today becomes part of the structure you'll be living within tomorrow. That's not superstition. That's sacred mechanics. And it's happening whether you're aware of it or not. So let this moment be conscious. Let your energy be deliberate. Let your movements echo with the truth you've discovered during this cycle. You've been through the reflection. You've been through the rupture. Now comes the refinement. Because Mercury is rising, and when it does, it lifts whatever you've anchored into place. And the universe doesn't carry what's most dramatic, it carries what's most coherent. Make that coherence your offering. And let the imprint of this moment bless every step forward. Sometimes, the body knows before the mind can explain. You could be moving through your day as usual, completing tasks, checking boxes, appearing composed, when suddenly, a wave hits. Not a thought. Not even a memory. Just a rising tightness in your chest, a swelling behind your eyes, and then the tears begin to form. Quiet, unexplainable, uncontrollable. If this happens to you today, do not dismiss it. Don't suppress it. This is not an emotional accident. It is a spiritual release. We are in the final hours of a retrograde cycle that has shaken loose layers of energy stored deep within your system, energies of silence, self-denial, grief, suppression, fear. And now, as the cement of this energetic window begins to set, your soul is using every available pathway to release what it knows cannot be carried forward. Tears are not weakness. They are truth in motion. They are what happens when energy has been locked inside for too long, and your body finally has permission to let go. It may not come with a reason. You may not be able to tell a story about the tears. But that's the beauty of this kind of release, it doesn't need a storyline. In fact, many of the most powerful healings happen without words. The emotional system bypasses the mind and moves directly through the heart, using the tears as a spiritual exit point. This is not random sadness. It is sacred recalibration. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. This promise from Psalm 126 verse 5 isn't about suffering for suffering's sake. It's about the alchemy of surrender. It's about letting grief have its space, so joy can have a place to land. When you cry now, you are not breaking down. You are breaking open. You are clearing emotional congestion that was built over months, years, even lifetimes. And each tear holds a frequency of release, one that makes space for light to enter. Let it happen. Don't analyze it. Don't apologize for it. Let your nervous system exhale. Because what's exiting through your tears is not just sadness, it's old timelines. It's emotional weight you didn't even know you were carrying. And the more it moves, the more clarity, softness, and presence will rise in its place. This kind of emotional detox cannot be forced, but when it comes, it is divine timing. Your soul knows exactly how to cleanse itself when given space. If you feel tears rising, slow down. Sit with them. Let the cry be full. Let it echo if it needs to. Let your shoulders tremble. This is not regression. This is renewal. You may not realize it yet, but when the tears dry, something will have shifted. Your field will feel lighter. Your heart more still. Your path ahead, just a little clearer. And all of it will have begun not with action or thought, but with surrender. When Mercury stations direct, the sky exhales, and so do you. But forward momentum doesn't mean starting over. It means everything you've been holding, your thoughts, emotions, intentions, even your silence, gets carried into the next chapter. You are not stepping into a blank slate. You're stepping into the consequence of your presence. And this is why today matters. Most people will move through tomorrow without reverence. They'll treat it like any other day. But you can feel it, can't you? The air is heavier, more charged. There's a quiet invitation beneath the surface noise. A moment asking you, will you carry your truth, or leave it behind again? Tomorrow is not just Monday. It is the energetic launch pad. And how you move, what you say, what you choose, what you feel, becomes the fuel for your new timeline. Even the smallest choice holds weight. Even a quiet moment of clarity leaves a fingerprint on your future. So move with it. Let this transition be sacred. Speak only what aligns. Touch only what you're ready to build. Focus only where your soul feels resonance. You don't need to control what happens next. You only need to be fully here, awake, clear, and present enough to honor the truth that emerged through the retrograde. Because this is how timelines are made. They are not created on the surface. They are shaped in these quiet inner spaces. What you carry forward now becomes the structure you walk upon later. You don't need perfection. You just need presence. Your future is not created tomorrow. It begins in what you choose today. So choose with care. Choose with reverence. And walk forward as someone who knows, the door didn't just open. You became the one who could finally walk through it.